Well, it's looking better and better. We got these, get these made, as well as finishing these over here. We got these other two made. I just modified these slightly. And the next episode after this one, we'll get working on the bottom part, as well as the bearing parts for here. Anyway, stay tuned for this episode, and stay tuned for the next. Hey, this is Kevin back again with the next episode here. And so what we were going to do next was make the holders for these rods here. And what we can actually do is just set origin to the 3D cursor again. Set, it's way over there. Oops. Cursor to center. And then we set origin to 3D cursor. And we can duplicate it, rotate Z 90 degrees. Then we can go over here, and being that we have that already made for the most part, what we could do is just select that and Shift H, hide everything else, center in on that, set origin back to its center of mass, go here, and create a cylinder. Drag that over here. I'll size it up just slightly bigger than the ring we had. That's pretty close to center. Doesn't have to be exact. Make that up. Make that a little bit bigger. And that is cylinder 9 over here. Do a boolean on it. Union. Find cylinder 9 down the list here. Apply. Select the cylinder, delete it. Now we have that. Actually, undelete. So we have that there. Actually, yes, go ahead and delete it. Then I can unhide everything. Alt H. We can take this and just move it up a little bit. Here, that is called cylinder 8. Boolean difference. Cylinder 8. Apply. Move that back down to where it used to be with the other one, which is cylinder 7 at just go in here. Move that one up a little bit. Make it an even number. Just make it negative 1.2. And make that one equal 1.2. So those are both in the same spot. So that's the holder there. The reason why this is so thick is just to make sure that it stays exactly where it needs to be. And the cursor's still in the center, so we can set origin. 3D cursor. Duplicate it, rotate 180 on Z. Copy it over there. Set origin to center of mass. Set origin to center of mass. And we made those. Being that we had that already made, figured why not? Or I make it more complicated and just use those again. So there we go. So there's that. And so what we need to make now is the holder for these. And these are going to mount onto the rail here. So what we really need to keep with this would be this, 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 and the two rails, and press Shift H, hide everything else but those. And now we can go ahead and make the part that needs to go here that mounts to the bar here. And cursor is selected. Selected the cursor, size that up. I have it about the same size, a little bit bigger. Kind of make it so it lines up with the edges here. Move that up where it needs to be. Doesn't need to be quite that big. So this is going to be about right here. Actually, that's going to need to be smaller, so because we don't want it to overlap into that. So anyway, we got that. This is going to be up here. So we can make it level there. Why not? We got enough room. And we got that. So I'm going to make cursor to selected. So what I'm going to do is add a cylinder here. I'm going to make a kind of a duplicate of this. This one has the threads in it and everything. We don't need those there because if we subtract it from the other object, it'll kind of mess things up a little bit. A little bit bigger. Excuse me. Go into edit mode. Grab it in Z. Extrude. Size it up. A little bit bigger. Extract it up. There. And then we got a copy of that. We can go ahead and select that and hide that now. We don't need that there anymore. And we have the subtract that we need for that. And go ahead and actually I'm going to select the whole face here. And the top view, extract, and do the same over here, extract. And I'm going to make a cut here. Cut here. So now what we can do, we'll take both of these faces, move those in, and same here. Just put it quite out that far. And I'm going to go out of edit mode. I'm going to unhide everything. So we need to find those bolts that we had that we made earlier that we don't have to copy them again. Where are they? They're right here. Okay. Not too far away. Set origin to center of mass on both of those. So we can take that, and that. Shift H. Oh. Control Z. Just like that. Shift H to hide everything but the ones we need to work with. That other bar is gone, but that's okay. So we can take these and select all P, separate by loose parts. So now I have two of these. Set origin to center of mass, rotate Z 180 degrees. That one. Set origin to mass. Yeah. Rotate Z 180 degrees. Put that over here. That one over here. See, we have a problem where those two are going to meet up, so we want to move one of those over a little bit at least, because the bolt head's actually going to be in here, along that, and the other bolt head's going to be about here. Let's move it over a little bit. Duplicate that, and looks like we will have to move that out a little bit. Doesn't hurt. Got a little bit of a space there. Duplicate that. Grab that out just a little bit. And these aren't lined up anywhere near where they need to be. Select both of those. Okay, so I need to unhide everything real quick. Okay, so that one's going to be lower. Forgot to select that as well. Should hide everything again. I just needed to find where this angle iron was going to be so that we could get these lined up more accurately. Okay, so that would be right there. These ones look like they're good where they're at. So if we look at this one now, this entire thing here is going to need to move down. Not that one. Control 3. Okay, now we got the right view. In the face select mode, we can move just those down. Okay, there we go. So it makes the part look a little bit offset, but that's okay. So those are all lined up where they need to be. Should move it down a little bit more. That down a little bit more. Select all those, join them together, as well as this. Join that together. Actually, no, don't join that one together yet. We should have selected. So here we need to add another cylinder. This time, this one needs to be, I want to make this 9. 30. Just to make sure that there's clearance in the plastic so that it doesn't rub on the lead screw at all with the thing in there. And this is cylinder 10, so we can add boolean union cylinder 10 by. Now we can add it to this one. That is cylinder 9 now. After it's all joined together, boolean difference cylinder 9. Apply. Move that out of the way, and we have our part. Except for the screws. Move that back. And we need to make mounting screws for the lead screw bushing here. So let's go ahead and unhide everything. So now we need to line everything up with this. So what we need to do is, cursor's still there, so add a cylinder over here. Size that up to 3. I'll make it a little bit bigger. So you need to make holes for everything. Should be good. Then the origin's there, so we can set origin to the center of that. Duplicate that, rotate 90, duplicate, rotate, duplicate, rotate. We got all 3 of those. Select all of those. Oops. And then join them together. And I'm going to make an M3 nut. Bolt, put an M3, put a nut, scale it up by 10. And try to get the center as close as you can. This doesn't have to be exact. It's pretty close. I'm just getting this for the size. Cursor just selected. Shift to add cylinder. And it's going to be 6. Size that up. Rotate 30. It's a little bit bigger than the nut. That way we want to make sure the nut gets in there, but we want to make sure that it doesn't spin either. That should be good. It's always hard depending on your printer how well the tolerances are. Okay, select this, and cursor just selected. Now I have this here. Okay, so the nut will be there. I want to make a M3 screw, or nut, bolt, I don't know what I'm talking about now. M3, Allen, cap, and I have 20mm, 16mm, and 10mm. I want 16mm. Let's see if that'll work. Let's kind of line that up here. Well, looks like it should work just fine. So leave that where that's at. Just move that out of the way. So set origin to 3D cursor. Duplicate, rotate, duplicate, rotate, duplicate, rotate. Now I can select all of those and join those together. And that's cylinder 10, so lean union, cylinder 10. That looks alright. Delete those. And we got those in there, right? Select our object we've been working on. Add boolean, difference. Cylinder 10 or 12? Have to be 12 because that's what we were working with. 10's not there anymore. There's that. Go ahead and apply that. Looks good. Delete that now. Move this out of the way. We don't need that. We can take and look at our part. And that's a little bit of a thin edge right there, and it cuts through the wall even. But that should be okay. Not too bad. Might be hard for the print to print it out, but that should work though. Control Z to go back to where it's at. And that looks good. So cursor to center. Yeah, it's at origin to center. Go to the 3D cursor. Duplicate, rotate 180 degrees. Control Z, that was wrong. Rotate Z, 180 degrees. There we go. You can't forget to put the Z in there. It's kind of important. I just noticed that I got a gap of about 1 millimeter there. Do I have that over here too? I do, but that's okay though. What you can do to fix that is just select all these. Go to vertex mode first. Move it in a little bit. Alright, fixes that. And do the same over here. See, sometimes you don't catch things like this until it's too late, but got this one in time. There we go. Those are both fixed. So now we can give that the color of the 3D printed stuff we're making. There's that. And so now we have the mounts where it'll go up and down, and that actually would probably be just fine to use that as it is to mount it, but we got these linear rods here that are holding up too, so what we need to do now is make a bearing for it that will hold it. And I just remembered that I'm just using the LM8UU bearings on here. And so with that, these are going to be really easy to make. So, see how we're doing on time. Well, these things take a lot longer for me to make than I realize. Anyway, we got quite a bit done. We got these made as well as these made. So the next episode, what we'll be doing is the bearing mounts here, and we'll get started on the motor mounts and rod mounts for the bottom here. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next one.